Today's guest is really exciting. I'm really looking forward to today's talk. She was a social media consultant for huge brands like Spotify or Huawei, and also helped one client in the Instagram world to reach over 450,000 followers. Really impressive. And since last year, she's been working as a digital well-being coach, business health coach. So today I want to dive into all of these topics with Patricia Oleksiak. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited. Thanks for the introduction. Sounds so good if someone is saying it.
That's true, but you have a very inspiring CV basically, and that's why I invited you on the show to kind of let the audience gain value from your experience. I want to talk about three different parts today. First of all, chronologically about your business, or as a social media consultant basically. As I mentioned, you worked for huge brands, Spotify, Huawei, and also as influencer. Can you elaborate a little bit on how your work looked like back then when you worked for those brands? What kind of value did you provide for these companies?
Yeah, somehow, I don't know, like maybe a bit more about my background. So, first of all, I studied like industrial engineering. So, nothing with media, nothing with social media. And somehow, like when COVID hit, I got like friends with a huge influencer, and she saw my potential with social media because I was like always scrolling, and I like in my free time, it was like a huge part of mine. And then I was like working with her, and yeah, like for example with Spotify, it was like a workshop for community building, like how can we build a community online. And for other brands, it's basically some of them are content creation as well, or in the past, and others were like workshops. Okay, how can we like present us in the world of social media?
What was your approach in building this huge follower basis for your friend? Do you have like tips or strategies on how you would approach this kind of scenario?
It was just like I was helping out, and I was like helping out in the background. So I wasn't like doing some content creation or anything else. I was like the manager. So I was like working with brands. I did like collaboration and stuff like that. But like for tips, I mean, everything, like everyone knows that Instagram is kind of dead for organic reach. So I guess I would like suggest other platforms to hop on, for example, TikTok or YouTube Shorts. And like the business context, it's like LinkedIn, and like be consistent, just like do and try out different things. And if this is not working, maybe something else, but not quit. Like if 1 month was like really bad, don't quit, just like move forward and go on and try trial and error.
Would you like recommend to completely focus all of your energy onto like TikTok instead of like posting on Instagram?
I think it's like cross media. Like, for example, don't focus just on one social media app. Maybe you can like, if you have the time, that's why, I mean, we get to the part with digital well-being, but if you have the time, just like cross media, like for example, start on Instagram and put your Instagram content on LinkedIn and then on TikTok, etc. But every app or every platform has like different algorithm and stuff like that. So it's really hard, and it's really hard to suggest something because I can talk about Instagram for 4 hours and then TikTok 4 hours. It's like it's so different. Like every platform is so different, and like for example, on Instagram is first it was okay, now we are like we don't focus on pictures anymore and no photos, just videos, and now they got like back and said, oh no, we don't focus on reels anymore, we focus again on photos. So it's changing so fast, so you have to be like really on top of every announcement of Instagram and like try different skills. But I think like collaborations and like network is a huge part of it. If you're like collaborate with other huge or like it doesn't have to be a huge following based influence, but if you like follow others and engage, like community management is really important, and not just on your account, on other accounts as well. Yeah.
Is that your own approach? I see that you are very active on LinkedIn, for example. Do you do yourself a lot of collaborations with others?
Not really, because LinkedIn, I mean, it's not my business. I don't earn money with it. So it's just like for fun. So I don't do collaborations, but I know like in the background, other people do it. So yeah, please comment on my Instagram channel or on my TikTok, and I will comment on yours and give me a shout out. And yeah, everything is so changing because I was like active on the early age of Instagram, so I know how all the social media stuff changed, and it was so easy back in the days to get like a huge following, but now it's like changing and it's getting harder.
What was your motivation to kind of start off this whole social media journey in the beginning? You said yourself that you were kind of in the past you scrolled as a consumer through all of these social media platforms yourself, and then kind of due to a coincidence, your friend said, "Why don't you help me out?" Was that the reason why you started off, or was that like a kind of dream of yours since you were in your teenage years?
No, it wasn't like a dream of mine. I never dreamed of like becoming someone who's working in social media. So it just like happened. And I mean, like all the connections you could build, like with social media, I saw the potential for brands and everything. And then somehow it was like fun working with my friend because we were like pretty close and we had like good trust in each other. We think alike. So it was like pretty easy and pretty fun to work together. I like to like try different things. So it was like a good time to start with it, but it wasn't a dream of mine. I mean, I always see myself as a consultant, but not really as someone who's like doing content creation. And yeah.
I also mentioned in the beginning that you're since last year you're a coach in the field of digital well-being, and it's kind of funny because you are a social media consultant, and at the same time you yourself, I think, kind of figured out that nowadays many people struggle with digital well-being, especially content creators. So can you elaborate on that stage of your life a little bit more as well?
So I was like working in the past for a brand where I had to do like the content creation and everything. And then I figured out like pretty early that it doesn't really end well for my mental health because I had to like stick to the numbers. I had to watch it. I woke up in the middle of the night and put the phone out and I was like watching, or did the number were right and is everything okay and why didn't this go viral and why is this not working? And I was so focusing on the numbers and it was like kind of crazy. And I'm working as a business health coach, not just for digital well-being. I like do coachings for others who are like really lost in the workplace and don't know what to do or where to go. And like health is a big part for me because like we are in a world where like burnouts are rising and we are working overtime and like depression is a big thing. So yeah, somehow it's like, I mean, it's in the private life as well. I don't get why people are stick to their phones all the time. If I meet friends and they're like all the time on the phone, it's like, where's the point? Why do you want to meet up if you are always on the phone? So I was like going into this and like digital detox and should I quit all my social media, etc. And I'm not really a fan of like quitting. It's more like find your balance because we can't avoid social media anymore or like the internet. It's just finding a way to use it like in a balanced way.
How would you describe the optimal balanced way for using social media?
Maybe ask yourself why you want to use it. Is it like you want to compare yourself to others, or is it you are bored, or you're avoiding your own feelings because you are like lonely at your home, or you are feeling stressed, or I don't know. And then ask yourself in the first state, so why am I like taking the phone out? Why is it like, do I feel uncomfortable in the situation, or is it just I want to scroll, I want to have fun or something like that? And then like don't scroll in a bad mood, don't compare yourself to others because everyone has like a own life and is individual. And I know that things look pretty good on social media and with all the creators living their best life, etc., but it's like behind the scenes it looks different. A big approach of mine is like ask yourself why you want to use it and like, is it just for fun? And don't stress yourself out like because of numbers, because like there's a technology working for it. It's not someone sitting there in a group and saying, oh, I don't like this person, and then the post doesn't go viral. It's just an algorithm, and people stress so much out like because of a technology. And yeah.
So you would basically recommend us to, before we pick up the phone, having a sense of self-reflection first, and then based on the reason why we want to dive into social media, we should decide if it's a smart decision to go into social media, into the world of social media, or if we should put the phone away. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's like, why are we on social media? Because we are humans and we want to connect to each other. It's like we want to socialize. We want to feel we are part of something. That's why we are loving social media, because it feels like if you're in a small town somewhere in Germany and you have like different interests, you're like, you want to travel the world, or I don't know, you want to go to social media and find your soulmates kind of, and then it's like all about human connection, and you can have it outside of the social media as well, but it's like harder. But yeah, I don't know, it's like some people like to use it like randomly. With everything, it's so individual.
I feel like nowadays social media has so many different motivations. Like people, first of all, what you mentioned is correct. Yes, I think in the beginning, social media was conceived to connect people, but nowadays there are a lot of people who are looking for instant validation. I also think, which is a negative effect as well. People are looking for the likes and the comments, and that's the problem you also mentioned in the beginning as well. That we are constantly comparing ourselves, and I think that's also to an extent rooted in the human nature, this desire to be respected by other people and to be loved. In that regard, do you have any recommendations for people like that who, after a sense of self-reflection, see that, oh, actually I'm on social media because I want to have validation from outside?
I mean, it's a process. It's not that I wouldn't like recommend just like putting your phone away, like from like one day to another and just like don't do it anymore. It's just like, okay, maybe try 10% less scrolling every day, or don't put your phone next to your bed. Like a bedroom is like free phone zone, for example. Don't wake up and put your phone like in front of your face. Just wake up, wait half an hour and just like, and ask yourself like, how should my day look like? Or be grateful for the day, or like affirmation stuff. Another example is like if you post something and the post don't get like 20 likes and you were hoping for 20 likes and you're in a good mood, and then you open social media and watch and see, oh my God, it just got 15 likes. It's like you get so unhappy and you get like, oh my God, and I feel so unworthy, why didn't people like it, etc. And it's like, yeah, tips is like, for me, for example, tips are, don't take your phone to the bedroom. If you are working, put your phone in another room, because it's like it's kind of an addiction. I know that people don't like to call it, because it's not like, study found out that it's not really an addiction. It's kind of another framing. If it's popping up and everything, and notification, it's a huge part for me. I turned off all the notifications, so nothing is on, just my phone. Like if someone is like calling me, that's the only notification I get. So this helps as well.
These are really valuable tips for normal people, but for both of us, for example, who are content creators, we are by definition kind of immersed in the whole social media world. Like, for example, if I post something on Instagram, then naturally I will also see other people's posts or the reels and all of these things, and I find myself kind of being a victim of the whole algorithm then as well, because then something pops up that I find really interesting, and then half an hour later I'm on my phone again. How do you deal with that as a content creator yourself?
For example, if I post something, I put my phone in another room, so I don't watch it. I mean, I don't have to stick on my phone just because I post something. It's not that. I mean, it's hard because sometimes I want to see if the post like or if someone is engaging with this, but you have to like free your mind of this stuff, because I'm not posting it for I don't know, going viral. I just post it because I have something to say, and if someone is agreeing, it's fine. If not, I just said it. I mean, I have like my LinkedIn bubble. It's my kind of my own diary. It's like my LinkedIn diary, and I post it just because I want to post it. And I mean, it's cool if a post hit like, I don't know, 20 likes, but on the other hand, it's like, okay, my life is still going on if I don't get the likes. So yeah, I'm focusing on the offline world more than on the online world, because somehow people think if you just post online, you get a lot of following, and then you will get like more reach, etc. But it's always a combination of the offline world. People get interviews, people will be invited to events, etc. They learn, they do networking and stuff like that. It's not just because of posting something on social media. It's always a combination of like the outside world.
I think that's a huge thing that you just mentioned, that many people nowadays lost the connection to the real world, kind of, because the social media world is just so perfect in many ways. Like you can use 10,000 filters to make you look perfect and I don't know, edit everything. And yeah, it's just in a way sad, I think. Speaking of your job, you are a coach. You're a coach. And I also wanted to ask you some questions in that regard because I was always fascinated by the kind of by the coaching bubble. Can you kind of define coaching? Because for me, it's still a little bit difficult to differentiate coaching from mentors or from being a teacher. What is the specialty of a coach?
People always are confused about like coaching, I guess, and consulting. People are coming to me and they're like, okay, Patricia, I need a business plan and you have to tell me how I should do it. And it's not about I should tell you or I'm telling you what to do. It's all about yourself. I'm kind of just a sparring partner. I'm listening. I'm asking you the right question, and you are the expert of your own life. So I would never tell you something in my coaching sessions. Oh, that's a bad idea. What are you thinking? Oh, that's a huge vision. It's always like I'm being a coach and like I'm hyping you up, and or if you have this vision, like what can we do, like which steps can we take to get there, like what is your approach and where do you want to go? Because I don't know if you know it, but sometimes if you're like in your own bubble and you tell people about your dreams, they're always like, oh, you have like big dreams, and like downgraded a bit. I'm as a coach, I'm just listening, always about like asking the right questions and listening, active listening. And a mentor, I think it's like a mentor is someone who's like listening as well, but they give you advice. They tell you, oh, I did it like this way. Maybe you should like try it this way as well, and a teacher as well. But I'm not here for telling you how to live your life because it's your life. You are the expert of your own life.
Ah, no, I think I understand it more. So it's just different functions for different stages of life or for different purposes. It depends on what your goal is. But coaching kind of requires you as being coached to know the answer yourself. I think most of the time the people probably know the answer themselves, but for whatever reason they are not really honest to themselves, and then they need a coach kind of to guide them on their way, right, to the right decision.
Yeah, and they are afraid because I don't know, there are like quotes as well. Or what would you do if you're not scared, or if no one is seeing what you're doing, etc. And everyone in the world, I think, are so scared of the outside opinions.
I want to ask you some critical questions as well because I feel like coaching is really helpful if you're really qualified. In your case, that's obviously the case, but I feel like there are so many coaches out there right now because there's no requirement that you go to university or something to become a coach. And that's why I think everybody could just name themselves a coach, basically. If I wanted to, I could go on LinkedIn and just say I'm a coach myself. Um, what is kind of your stance on that? How what do you think should be a requirement for you to become a coach, or on how to find a good coach who is really qualified?
People on social media have like a kind of a false expectation of coaching because of those people who are expressing themselves as a guru or I don't know. Um, and I would always look for certifications. Like there's like a good hint, like okay, are people authentic, like where did they did like the traineeship, or why is he a coach or she, and does she have a certificate, and or is she just saying she's a coach but she's in fact a consultant? So people don't really understand what a coach is, and therefore a lot of consultants name themselves coaches, but yeah.
Did you ever face some sort of imposter syndrome when you called yourself a coach? Because I can imagine that if I would call myself a coach right now, I would be thinking, well, what makes me qualified to call myself a coach and to be a sparring partner with other people in their lives? Did you ever face that kind of thing, or were you always very confident in yourself and like, oh, actually, I have so much value to offer to other people, so I'm just gonna do it?
I mean, I think everyone has like kind of an imposter syndrome sometimes, but for coaching, I mean, as a coach, I have my certificate. I did a lot of training. It's not that I just said, okay, I'm a business coach now. I did like a lot of training with an institute for coaching. I think I'm pretty good in asking good questions. That's kind of my skill. A lot of people are saying to me, "Oh, Patricia, you're so introverted, but you ask the really good questions." I mean, you will never see me in a room full of people going there and presenting myself that I'm like a king or queen and like saying, "Oh yeah, I will talk about my business and look how good I am." I will always ask questions.
I think that's one of your great virtues, to be really curious about the other people's lives. And I think like people can feel it if you're really curious about another person, and then you naturally ask the questions that involve them as a person. Can I ask you if, and you don't have to answer it if you don't want to, but I think a lot of listeners are curious about this coaching aspect and the financial aspect of it as well. If you wanted to, could you just pursue the coaching business and live a very comfortable life? Or is this kind of like a side hustle besides your social media consultant job?
If you're really, really good in coaching, you could live of it just by one-on-one coachings. But I'm really creative and I like to do other stuff than just sit on a chair and coach, for example. I like it for 2 days, but I need some creative work as well. So I like to give workshops. I like to I don't know, if someone is inviting me on a stage, I would love to do it as well. I think it depends on your business model, like how you do it. I guess a lot of people can live of it, but you have to have a good business model, I think.
Thank you, Patricia, so much for your time. I think both of us have to go soon, so will respect our time. But I want to summarize kind of what I learned from you today before we go, and then maybe you have some last comments to the audience before we leave. So basically, you worked as a social media consultant for a lot of huge firms, and you think that it's smart to kind of invest your time in studying each platform if you want to grow your audience, because every platform works differently. Instagram, TikTok, or YouTube, they work differently, and it's kind of changing a lot. So you have to be up to date if you want to be successful in these areas. Then you gave us some valuable tips on how to be better with the consumption of social media, how to be more mentally healthy, basically, especially as a content creator. And then we dive into the coaching segment and yeah, all of these aspects.